Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan, and thanks for joining us for our Friday update for August the 11th. And this weekend, high pressure around New Zealand is finally fading away, and low pressure, it's coming in next week. On the animated wind map today, we're showing you high pressure, which is in yellow and the brighter shading, low pressure in the darker shading. So you can see New Zealand and Australia surrounded in a lot of high pressure at the moment. Not necessarily parked right over the top of New Zealand, but it's close enough to keep the rainfall totals lower than they've been over previous months. But we've still got a small area of low pressure to the east, to the northeast in the Tasman, and clearly the storms down here in the Southern Ocean. So over the next several days, we're going to be seeing a lot of high pressure around New Zealand, but this large low is going to form in the middle of it all. So there's going to be high pressure to the north and the south, the west and the east, and low pressure right in the middle over New Zealand for a time next week. But as the week wears on next week, that high pressure around it will gradually push it away. So let's try and break that down for you. Let's kick off with the rainfall maps to begin with. This weekend, the next 2 days, looks fairly normal for this time of the year. Most of the rain in Fiordland, around about 40 or 50 millimetres there. And then the totals, they taper off the further north you go. Basically very little for the top of the country and almost nothing, if not nothing at all, for the eastern side of New Zealand. Now next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rainfall, that's when the low is right over the top of the country. But again, most of it is coming into the western side, and places like Waikato, which have had a lot of rain this year, won't be getting as much as other parts of the country. So still some rain, but not as much as you've been getting from other rain events this year. And then the eastern side, again, here's the good news, not very much rain for you in that blue, green, yellow part there, which is only a few spits to 10 millimetres at the most in the yellow. So we're not seeing huge amounts of rain. And if you can't work out your rainfall totals from this is just showing you at a glance where the heaviest rain is and where the lightest rain is. It's not really designed to drill down at your house. But if you need to do that, just go to our websites, ruralweather.co.nz and weatherwatch.co.nz has your local rainfall totals. Now, Australia for the next 5 days ahead, I said this yesterday, it's like someone's taken Aussie and dipped it into some colour paint because most of it is just in this line at the bottom. A couple of showers around Cairns and Sydney seeing some more rain on the way, around about 20 to 30 millimetres for you. And the final map that we've got, that's not quite the usual forecast maps, but our departure from normal temperature map for New Zealand tonight shows the areas in dark blue, 4 to 8 degrees below what the average temperature is at this time of the year. So that's a sign that tonight will be cold. Most people will feel that. But if you're in the lower South Island, you probably think it's just a normal night tonight because basically temperatures are normal. So let's have a look at the forecast now, the forecast maps going into the weekend. Saturday, a lot of high pressure. This is all high pressure on the map. Now the low pressure zone mostly down here in the Southern Ocean. New Zealand is more in the high pressure area, but because of the westerly winds, that's why you'll see a few showers all along that western coastline across Saturday. Still will be mostly dry for the North Island, but you know, if a shower is a problem for you, there could be one or two around on Saturday. Now on Sunday, still got high pressure all along the north here and all the way down into the Southern Ocean around Tasmania. But this low pressure zone here is one to keep an eye on. It sends up a cold front on Sunday. Snow comes back into the mountains and ranges of the South Island. Rain comes back into the west coast and the westerly winds blow over the North Island. That's good news if you live in the east and want it drier and warmer. But next week, that's when that low forms. So see what I mean? There's high pressure here all the way to the north, all the way down over Tasmania, and that high pressure belt actually tracks south of New Zealand, which means that low is trapped inside high pressure, and so it tends to cannibalize itself. It's got this sort of finite amount of energy and it uses it up. So you'll see that on Monday with that westerly and the rain coming into the North Island's western side, most of it here on the western side as well. And by Tuesday, the low getting larger. That doesn't mean stormier though, and it means that the rain actually breaks up and fractures. So you end up with lots of dry spells, but that rain in those westerlies carries on for the, especially for the North Island later in the day, but in the morning it'll be for the South Island. And on the other side of the Tasman, it's a southeasterly, different airflow coming in for you. That's why we're seeing the rain along New South Wales. And so we get to the middle of next week, and finally, the high pressure zones kind of elbow themselves back in again. The low breaks apart, and finally we're sort of seeing more high pressure as we go in towards next weekend as well. But, you know, this time of year we get regular cold fronts, regular southern storms, And so not surprising to see an unsettled weather map like this. It's kind of normal for this time of the year. Good to say that after such an abnormal start to 2023 in the New Zealand area with all that rain. We're still seeing the rain on a regular basis, but the totals, they're starting to drop. That's some good news for those who are really sick of it. That's all from me. Have a really good weekend. We'll see you next week.